Lucid Motors is by far my favorite EV stock, if we're excluding Tesla. And to all the people out there who are like,
what about NIO, dude? NIO is the best EV stock.
well, I think that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. And if you were able to actually buy NIO stock back in March of 2020 and held it until the absolute peak, you would have made 25 times your money, which is nothing to laugh at. NIO created a brilliant opportunity for both traders and investors alike. But if we're talking about the EV space from a purely investment perspective, I think Lucid is going to be the number 2 player in this space, only second to Tesla, and still ahead of NIO. And the reason that I think this is because Lucid is really leaning into the aspects of EVs where Tesla fell short, meaning they're leaning heavily into the luxury side with nicer materials that you don't really see on Teslas. Because let's be honest, Teslas are incredibly nice, but I think it'd be a bit of a stretch to call Teslas luxury. And in regards to NIO, there always comes some greater risks when investing in Chinese companies. Even though the Chinese government does want NIO to succeed, you never know what might happen. And I think Alibaba is a great example of this, as after Jack Ma spoke out against the CCP, he disappeared for a bit. And to this day, Alibaba stock still hasn't recovered and continues to make new lows. But enough about that. Today, I want to talk about a recent update with Lucid and why this is great news for investors. Lucid Motors, trading under the ticker CCIV, has been ramping up quite a bit lately. They are, of course, a startup EV company that either made people a bunch of tendies or left bag holders crying for dear life after the stock lost basically 50% of its value back in February. And as of late, Lucid has been opening more studios around the United States, while also ramping up advertising campaigns to raise brand awareness. Lucid even cleverly bought an ad during Elon Musk's appearance on Saturday Night Live last month, knowing that Elon would attract a huge audience. And currently, Lucid is heading into the last stretch before entering production, as well as closing the de-SPAC transition with Churchill Capital. The company has now added over 2,500 reservations in the last 4 months. And looking back to when Lucid initially announced the merger, it had approximately 7,500 reservations for its Lucid Air sedan. Lucid was even able to provide investors with a handful of updates this week, all during the opening of the new flagship store in New York City. And among some of these updates was the Lucid Air reservations having now topped 10,000. So with that said, let's look at the timeline of Lucid's disclosures regarding reservations, which include all the trims of the vehicles. Additionally, Lucid says that it has now completed all of its pre-production builds and has started producing quality validation builds. In a follow-up interview with CNBC, CEO Peter Rawlinson noted that these units will be delivered to customers once the quality is confirmed to meet Lucid's rigorous standards. The chief executive called the milestone a big step forward toward launching the Air. From Lucid's newly opened New York City studio, the CEO Peter Rawlinson told CNBC that the firm is absolutely on schedule with plans to deliver 577 vehicles this year, which is a pretty obscure number, but at least they're being specific, I guess. And in fact, Lucid has even decided to accelerate some of its plans due to the large increase in demand. The company is accelerating around $350 million of planned capital expenditures that will be used to expand their manufacturing capacity at the Arizona factory. The budget is being pulled forward from future periods into 2021 through 2023, which basically translates to 6 to 7% more capital spending. And it's this money that's going to be used to combine the next 2 phases of the factory expansion into what the CEO is calling
one expedited phase,
implementing a general assembly line for their new Gravity SUV. And just as a reminder, Lucid has already completed Phase 1, which has a capacity of approximately 34,000 units per year. The plan will provide an additional 2.7 million square feet of manufacturing space, which will facilitate up to 53,000 air units per year. And honestly, this is all great news, because it seems that the Gravity SUV is mostly on schedule. However, Lucid still expects to release the vehicle near the end of its projected timeline in the second half of 2023. And from what I can tell, it seems like they're actually going to start getting massive deliveries soon. 2023 will call for about 49,000 units, while 2024 will call for 90,000 cars. And if Lucid is able to actually deliver in these timeframes, it's going to be a huge win for the shareholders. So overall, why is all this important? Basically, Lucid is working out all the kinks in their system to pinpoint production problems before the model goes on sale and buyers take deliveries. The Lucid Air sedan is expected to launch before the end of the year, with production increasing in 2023 and 2024 like I mentioned, with the SUV, which they call the Lucid Gravity, debuting in the second half of 2023. So with all that said, let's also discuss something really important with Lucid, and that would be the risks. Investors have some valuation concerns about CCIV stock, particularly that Lucid Motors revenue projections seem overly optimistic, and that management is underestimating industry competition. Some companies that come to mind are GM, Ford, and Tesla, but as the CEO Rawlinson said,
It's the technology that justifies those valuations. It's no longer the commodity valuation of how many cars you can build that determines the value of a company. It's the technology and the future potential of that tech. And our tech has the future potential to truly mass industrialize electric cars,
he told CNBC. And even though CCIV could trade sideways for the foreseeable future, if Lucid is a company where you see huge future potential in, why wait to invest? Just understand that when investing in Lucid, you're banking on future potential and not really what the company is currently doing or their valuation. And yeah, that's it everyone. Thanks for listening as usual, and I'll see you next time.